Okay, so today we are looking at quadratic functions. We're still on Unit 9 quadratic functions, but we are talking about more specifically how we are going to take that function and represent it on a table, and how we're going to then take that table and use it to construct our graph so we can visually see what is going on with that quadratic. From there, we'll look at its domain and range, all its possible x and y values, and evaluate that. So to start us off, I just want to give us some examples. This is going to tie heavily with your assignment today. In Delta Math, you have a function, you're given a function, and you're asked to fill out this table of values. Now, if it was just a regular XY table of values, I would say the easiest thing to do, you can kind of cheat the system a little bit. You can graph this in Desmos, use the tools that were given, right? And we have x minus 5, and that is all to the second power. And this is the function that we're talking about. So we can definitely use this as a model for when we have to graph it, okay? And we can also use the table here to get some of our values. We can change the x and y, the x values here to match the x values they're asking for, okay? What are they asking for? 2, 3, all the way through 8. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And look, all I'm doing is changing the x value in the table, and it's telling me what the y value equals, okay? You'll notice, though, that we don't have just one column that's not complete here. We have 3 columns that are incomplete. So if you really think about it, this column here on the right, this is supposed to be my regular f of x column, my y column. That is this third column here on the right. That is the complete problem. After we have plugged in x, we have evaluated x, and we've seen what y equals when x is that number. Okay, so while this is helpful, and we can definitely use it to check our work, we still need to be able to complete the other columns. And to do that, all we're going to do is substitute. So, for example, let me just open up my sketchpad. Where is my sketchpad? There's my sketchpad. Okay. Our equation, they have taken it and they have broken it down into its smaller parts. So usually if I was solving this equation, x minus 5 is where I'd start because it's in parentheses. That's what they gave me. So that's the first thing I'm going to solve, where x is 2. So in x minus 5, it's where x is 2. So 2 minus 5, which 2 minus 5 gives us negative 3. Okay? So here, that's negative 3. Our next column, we've expanded it a little bit more. Now we've added the squared part. So that x minus 5, we've already solved that part for this row. We know that that's negative 3. So now they're asking us negative 3 squared. And negative 3 squared, of course, is 9. So 9. And then the last thing they're doing is they're giving us that final step, that 1/4 times whatever you just solved for. The multiplying everything over here that we've already solved to be 9 by 1/4. So 1/4 times 9. And 1/4 times 9, if you don't know, you can plug it into your calculator. You can just do the multiplication. 1/4 is the same as 0.25. But 1/4 times 9 is 2 1/4, or 2.25. Okay, 2.25. And if you need to check that, this is where I was saying that table comes into play. Look at this, where x is 2, y is 2.25. So 2.25. And that's my first column. I'm going to do the same thing column by column, okay? So we try that. If it's correct, it lets us move on to the next part, okay? And you'll notice here they even gave us the fraction option. So if you solve it and maybe you use the calculator, or maybe you prefer to solve in fraction form, you can still put that in and it'll convert it to decimal, or it'll say what the decimal is, okay? But for the sake of time, I am just going to quickly go through each one of these verbally. So we have 3 now, x equals 3. So 3 minus 5, that's negative 2, okay? Now we have negative 2 in the parentheses, so negative 2 squared. Negative 2 times negative 2, of course, is positive 4. And then the last thing is 1/4 times 4. 1/4 times positive 4, which is just 1. And if we compare that to our table here in Desmos, that's what we have. We have 1. So we'll try that, and of course we're correct. 4 minus 5, again, 5's the bigger number, so I have negative 1 here. Then we have negative 1 squared. Well, 1 times 1 is just 1, okay? And finally, 1/4 times 1 would just be 1/4, or 0.25, okay? Which you'll see I put in 1/4 this time instead of the decimal, and it accepted it, and it showed us what the decimal was. 5 minus 5, 0. Excuse that bell. 0 squared, well, 0 times 0 is just 0. And then 1/4 times 0, 0. Okay. I just realized that here in Desmos I didn't even put that. We didn't even have a, yeah, that confirms it, 0. Okay, 6 minus 5, now we're talking about positive numbers because 6 is the larger number here, so 1. But anytime we square it, we're going to get a positive value. So even though we're talking about positive numbers, we've already solved for negative 1. So everything from here on is going to be the same as when we had negative 1. So this is also 0.25. Because remember, a parabola is like a reflection of itself after the axis of symmetry. And we've reached the axis of symmetry. We've reached the vertex, and we're now going back around. Okay, so now where it was negative 2, so this would be positive 2. Where it was negative 2, it was positive 4, which it would be positive 4 here as well, because 2 squared is 4. And then 1/4 times 4 is 1. And finally, we have 8 minus 5, which gives me 3. 3 squared is 9. And 1/4 of 9 is 2.25. And there we go. That is our table. You see, we have completed our table, and now a graph pops up. I'm going to graph those points. I can use this graph to help me, or I can use the table that I've already created, right? So at 2, where x is 2, y is 2.25. Where x is 3, y is 1. We've got to go up to the 1. Where x is 4, y is 0.25. And they were nice, and they gave us the decimal places, so we don't have to try to guess. Where x is 5, y is 0. And I'm looking at the table here from Desmos, but of course you just made the table, so you can look at it too. And this is where we've reached the vertex. So this is the axis of symmetry. Everything on the right side of this is going to look the same as the left side. So at 6, we're at 1. At 7, we are at, or I'm sorry, 6, we're at 0.25. At 7, we're at 1. At 8, we are all the way up here at 2.25. Okay? You can see we have circled back around. We have made our graph. And we have to have 5 points in order to graph it. So we're going to try that. Correct. We've graphed it correctly. And they are showing the parabola being drawn. And now that we have the parabola, it is asking us for the domain and the range. Now, I'm going to go ahead. We don't need that anymore or that. I'm just going to make this larger. Okay. For domain and range, it's important to remember that domain is all your possible x values. So if I'm looking at this graph going left to right, because those are my x values on the x-axis, I am going to the left, and that arrow means I'm going to the left forever, for an infinite amount of time. Okay, and that arrow to the right means I'm also going to the right forever. So if I asked for any x value on this graph, it would be possible, because all of the values here are going to be used. And anytime we're using all of the values, that is called all real numbers. So that's what I'm going to put in there. I'm going to say that's all my real numbers being used. As for our range is all of our possible y values. So when we look at this graph here, I look and I want to find either my maximum or minimum value, and those are found at the vertex, okay? So if I don't have a maximum or minimum value, like let's say I had an arrow going up and an arrow going down, it would be all real numbers. But in this case, I have a maximum or minimum value. I have right here at the x-axis at 0, I have a minimum value. And so my graph, this function, that is the lowest it will ever be. So every point above that, so at 0 and every point above that is part of my range. So all I have to say is y is greater than or equal to, because it's everything above it, so it's going to be greater than. But it includes that point too, so or equal to. And because that's at 0, we can just say 0. Everything greater than or equal to 0. And then I can try that. We're going to scroll down and we're going to submit that. Yes, this is what I believe our range to be, and we are correct. That is an example of what you are doing today. Okay, you are going to complete a table. They have broken the equation down into its steps, solving what's in the parentheses, getting rid of the exponent, and then applying any multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, any of that. Okay, they have broken down the order of operations. You're going to fill out your table. A graph will appear where you can use your table to graph the parabola, graph the quadratic you've just solved, okay? And then you are going to evaluate that parabola. You're going to look and see the domain and range.